Welcome back. We start our first real episode with Roland Bishop. Let's do a quick recap on where we start before we get into our first job. So if we're taking a look at the settlement we're starting off on, if we pop over to our sector, we're here at Reprise, and let's learn a little bit about what we've set up for Reprise. So we're in the Jovian hegemony sector. Hegemony is one of the small moons that's around Jupiter. Very, very tiny. It's like a mile in diameter, super small. And we probably made our way to Reprise through the Spire, coming over to Reprise, which is the station we're at now. This is where our contact's at, May. And you can see here the description. It's a large station that's built in far orbit around Hegemony. And what it's designed for, the purpose of it, is both shipyard construction and also agriculture as well. So they have like an agrodome. They have a little bit of description in here. Like if we're kind of panning out, getting the beginning shot of our, of like the intro of our show for our scene coming in, is we get these isolated slips of different sizes that are, building tug ships and patrol boats and cargo containers and all this stuff. And they're all just scattered around the area of our station Reprise. And then as the camera kind of zooms a little bit closer, you can see beyond all of the ship construction and all of the EVA suits and everything that's underway for the shipyards. You can see behind it that there's kind of like the glittering clear domes of the agridomes that are there. And then we zoom kind of in a little bit further, and this takes us into the interior of the station for like the shipyard section, and this is where we meet our contact and probably where we're having our conversation. Roland is having his conversation right now with May, and let's zoom in on who May is. And again, in the scene of our shot, we have May sitting at her desk. She has her own office in this place. She's a well-to-do salvager. She's Ironsworn, so we can see her. She's got her necklace that's full of those iron rings around it that show just how many jobs and vows that she's completed. She's a well-known, established person in the Ironsworn community, and she's giving us our first shot. And you can just, from her look, she looks like this life has beat her up. But it doesn't hold her down. She's very boisterous. She's very alive. She's fighting probably all the background radiation and all of the dangers and toxic everything that she's been through over the course of her 20-30 year career as a salvager. And I think right now we're kind of coming right at the end of our conversation where she set us up with a ship. She set us up with her first job, which is to find this missing cargo ship. And she probably looks at us and is now trying to get us out of her office. Okay, great, you have your job now. Let's get out of here. And as we're leaving, we're thinking back on what the intro of our job is, which is to find this ship, and it's called. And let's come back over to our vows under the challenges. It's a missing cargo ship called A Penny for Your Thoughts. And as she's kicking us out of her office to have the next person come in who owes her a favor, is doing a job for her, Roland is thinking back on the conversation that he had with her and maybe even some of the other folks at the shipyards, where we rolled up as part of our settlement troubles. So if we come over to here, that there was a depleted resource on the station, as you can see here. So the shipmaster was expecting a delivery of some EM hardened circuit boards, which was aboard this cargo ship, Penny for Your Thoughts. And that cargo ship has gone missing. And it's not a massive problem, but it's one that will definitely slow things down. And so, like we mentioned on episode 0 for setup, this is something that May thought, hey, be a great starting place for us to be able to go into. So let's go ahead and get going. So we kind of cut to our ship. We talked about it a little bit in the last session. This is our modular not that great ship called You Can Lead a Horse to Water. It's a workhorse kind of tugboat ship. We have one module installed on it, our expanded hold, which is currently empty, that we can put all our things into. And as we're kind of going inside and flipping all our buttons and switches to be able to get pullback clearance from Reprise as a station, we're talking to the shipyard master. The inside of this thing is very impersonal. It's very beige. Something we want to work on, but for now we got our job in mind. So let's actually just start this thing off. And what we're going to be starting with, and let me go ahead and pin this, is the first part of our vow. I swear on iron to discover the fate of the missing cargo ship. So we got to be in our Mary. May has told us this is the general location of where it's at. So let's go ahead and pop over to the sector. And by the way, when I made that roll, this was the session 0 notes and rolls that we made. We did get a strong hit on this one when we made the vow, and we didn't make it to Mayfair directly, our contact. And so our momentum went up to a 4, and we have a really good handle on where we should be starting. And let's go ahead and pop over to the sector. We're over here at Reprise, and let's go ahead and say that, over here or something, this is the general region where the ship was last heard of. So a penny for your thoughts. We're going to be heading down kind of in this direction. And let's go ahead and start up session 1 notes and rolls. I'm not going to be tracking all the rolls. If there's something that's in particular that's interesting to me, we'll track them in there, and we'll take notes as we get things that are interesting. But what we're going to start with is our expedition. So I'm going to grab our Traveler Starforged, and then we're going to start off with our first exploration roll, and we're gonna undertake an expedition. So in this case, we're gonna trailblaze a route through perilous space, journey through hazardous terrain, or survey a mysterious sit. We're gonna give the expedition a name and rank. So let's go ahead and come over to our challenges, and we're gonna have a new progress, and this is gonna be expedition to find no, this will be travel to the last known location. Perfect. Okay. And then this is going to be, we're going to say it's only troublesome. Yeah, that's easy enough. Okay. So when we look at this this move, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be starting this conversation, this exploration, this travel by remaining vigilant. So we're going to be starting off with our roll plus wits. And let's see what we get. So let's go ahead and fire up our dice roller. Go ahead and pump up wits. And then we're going to just hit this one down here. We'll do the roll and attribute. And I don't think we have any cool things that'll help us out at the beginning. The only thing I was considering is that we do have our contact. But I think our contact already gave us enough information to kind of just start things off. So we're just going to go ahead and roll on this one. Unless my first one give me some kind of a plus on it. Nope, just +2 momentum. Okay, so let's go ahead and just roll this up and let's see what we get for our first leg of the travel. So wits, roll, and it's a miss already. This is looking super great right off the bat. So let's take a look, see what we get from a miss. So on undertake an expedition, on a miss are waylaid by crisis, arrive at a waypoint to confront an immediate hardship or threat. Do not mark progress and pay the price. Okay, so first up, let's go ahead and find out what kind of a waypoint we're arriving at. And the waypoints for undertaking expedition are always going to be, there's like some kind of point of interest whenever we're going to be arriving in one of these waypoints. And then in this case, it's going to be an interesting thing that is going to go sideways on us right off the bat. And then in addition to that, we're also going to roll and pay the price. So let's start off getting rid of this. And then we're going to pop open the oracles here for space, and we're going to grab ourselves a peril, but we want to find out what it is. So let's go ahead and roll up, switch over to Outlands, and then I think it's a sighting. Let's find out. No, we're not doing planets, we're not doing stellar objects. Is it all of them that are? Oh, I remember. So on planets, so the oracles are heavily weighted towards planets, and actually I brought up the rulebook specifically for this. For stellar objects, you can see here, that in Outlands, like it's like 15% chance to find a stellar object, and about like a 20% chance to find a planet, and that works well for like if we're doing like deep space, running between different systems. That would work for us. But in our setup, we're not going to be doing that since we're staying within the Sol system. So you can see that the settlement and starship rolls are like super low. It's only like 2 or 3% chance to be able to run into these. So what we're going to do for ours is we're going to flip this. So whenever we run across a stellar object, it's really a settlement. Whenever we run across a planet, it's really a starship. So we're just going to be inverting these. So there's a higher chance that we're going to be finding settlements and starships, which is what we want anyway. And then if we do happen to run a settlement or a starship, then we can come back and take a look at these for like a stellar object or a planet or something. Okay, so we rolled, I want to say planet first, so this means it was a starship. So now let's go ahead and pop back over to here. So we've run across some kind of a starship, and there's going to be a peril that we immediately run into, which is dust clouds that are imperiling navigation or concealing foes. And the foes here, I think that's a pretty obvious thing, that this spaceship that we've run into is a foe that we're gonna have to deal with. So let's go ahead and take a look to see what there may be for starship. Let's get a sense of what this is, so we can get a sense of what class. So it's like we're not going to use it specifically like a courier class. We're going to say this is a smaller class of ship, so maybe like some kind of a fighter or something. And let's find out what its mission is. I'm curious. It's a blockade location. That sounds like a great start one. So this is some kind of a blockading ship. It might be a hold on a second. So let's come back over to our journal, and let's make sure we tag this. And then we're also going to have to roll on pay the price, just to see how bad this thing gets for us. So we run across some kind of like a fast patrol boat, and it's blockading the area. And this is, I'm going to say, like, because we mentioned in session 1 and session 0 that there's like the forever war that's going on. So maybe we're straying into one of these kind of war zone areas, and this is a patrol boat from one of the factions, and we don't particularly care about what faction it is, because that's not really that important to us. We may find out later on during play, but for now we don't care. And let's go ahead and roll up on our pay the price. So I got my little thing here. Let's go ahead and give us a D100, and we get a 78. And this is, you are harmed. So I have an idea on this one, because I don't want us to run into like immediate, oh god, we're already screwed. So what happens is that we're coming to this next section, and the way that the mechanics work in the game, like for ships that the book talks about, is you have these drives, and then you're going from waypoint to waypoint on travel, where you stop, your engines kind of recharge, and you go again. And I'm going to say in this one, what we find is that our ship, it comes out a little bit too soon. Maybe the sensors picked up something, some kind of like early warning system, but we weren't buckled in, we weren't ready for it, and so we go like flying forward, and we crack our head on something. So we're gonna get knocked up a little bit. So let's come on over to our health, and that would bump us down to a 4. But while we're here, let's go ahead and try out some more things. And I think under endure or suffer, the suffer moves, there's something called endure harm. So we're gonna roll on this one, and this gives us a chance to be able to kind of shake off this harm, to see if we can kind of just steel ourselves and not have to take the hit from this one. And so on this one, what we can do is we can try to roll with it, and we can either roll health or iron, whichever is higher. And right now our health is a 4, so we're going to roll on that one. So let's go ahead and pop open our dice roller, and then we're going to say we're going to roll other, and the other is going to be 4. So that's going to be our health. And then we're going to roll this one and see what we get. So let's go ahead and do that. And strong hit with a match. Matches are normally like there's some amazing thing that happens. And for this one, usually it's like thematically, you will say, oh, there's like this, it's a new discovery or a new cool thing. And for us, in Endure Harm, when you get a strong hit, you can choose one of the 2 options. We're going to say we get both of the options, it really kind of hammered home. So number 1, we're going to shake it off. We're not wounded. And also we embrace the pain. We take +1 momentum as well. So this bumps our health back up to a 5. So we managed to steal ourselves, and our momentum's up to a 5 as well. And we're going to talk about this in the narrative, because we know our ship comes out, the take lead the horse to water, comes out of our travel, our fast travel, way too soon. We come over, we smash our head, and we kind of just shake it off, and don't worry, we're okay. Roland's okay, and we're very close to the bridge. We come up, we take a look at our centers and our scopes, and we see this one fast patrol boat ship, and thankfully it's stopped us before we've gotten too close to it. But it is a problem, and we're gonna have to see if we can skirt around this thing. We have some options. We could talk to it. I'd really rather not. I think what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to slip our way around it, and see if we can get out of here. So there's nothing to hide behind. We didn't see that there was any like cool stuff here or something that was really interesting. So I think we're just going to have to maybe like go dark, see if we can cut our systems, let the ship go by, and then we can be on our merry way. So I think we're going to try to face danger. And the danger I think that we're going to be trying to use is, well, I'd love to be able to use my wits. We may have to use our shadow. So let's take a look at face danger. Is there any way, expertise, focus, or observation? I feel like that still fits, because we're rolling the situation we found ourselves into. So I think Roland gets to the bridge of the ship and is able to quickly, knowing the systems of the ship and knowing his background really well, he's going to start just turning things off as fast as he possibly can. And so we're going to roll against our wits on this one, and we're going to face danger. So let's go ahead and come over. And our momentum's pretty decent now. So if we roll horrible, we may be able to still turn this into something that's decent. Okay, so let's go ahead and come over. We're going to do wits. Good, that's been cleared. Everything is fine. Oh, we miss it. But check this out. So we got a 4 and a 7. So we could totally botch this thing, which I'd really rather not do. Or we can spend our momentum, and this is a cool part of the system too, or this tool. We can just click on our burn momentum, and it turns that 5 into like kind of not counting. And so at least we get one more than what we had before. So it turns into a weak hit. It's not great, but it's better than nothing. And on a weak hit for face danger, we succeed, but at a troublesome cost. Make a suffer move -1. So when you look at your suffer moves, there's a number of things. We can lose momentum, we can endure some harm, endure stress, withstand damage, a companion takes a hit, or we can sacrifice resources. There's 6 options we can go through, and we can choose ones that we think, like if something makes sense and it matches like it does right now, I'm going to say we're just going to endure some stress. So we're going to take a stress hit, and we're going to take a hit to our spirit. And I'm actually not going to try to withstand this one. So we could take the endure stress move like we did with endure harm. But I'm not going to, because Roland doesn't have the presence of mind in this moment to try to kind of steel himself. He's kind of taken in the moment just a little bit too much. And so we're going to take the spirit hit on this one. But at least we managed to ride through it. If we ever get to the point where we don't know what to do, we're just going to roll a d6. And if some don't make sense, we'll just cut them out and then see what we get. Okay. But for now, Roland manages to turn all the systems off. This fast patrol boat kind of comes through. It's blockading the area, but it's one patrol boat. It has a lot of space to cover. And so it goes off, does its own thing. And after maybe, we'll say 5-10 minutes or so, it rides off in its own way, which was close because the ship is not built for combat. We don't want to be fighting anything. We don't want to be pulled in any kind of war or any kind of fighting. So this worked out really well. So that was close. But we still haven't made any progress because we were waylaid by this boat. We were taken out before we could actually get there. So we're going to have to continue on our journey. So let's go ahead and come back over again and take a look at continue exploration. And we're just going to continue on. So we're going to continue our expedition. And let's go ahead and this is going to be wits again. And we'll see if we can get something that's not a total miss so far. But that's Ironsworn for you. Or in this case, Starforged. It's good to see that the same things apply, that you just can't get a miss. You can't get a hit for the life of you. So let's go ahead and roll this one again. We're going to continue our expedition towards the Penny for Your Thoughts. So first leg, perfect. So we got a strong hit. This is great. And on a strong hit, again, we're rolling against wits. We're still being vigilant. We're being careful on how we're plotting our course forward. And on a strong hit, we reach a waypoint. We get to envision the location and mark progress per the rank of our expedition. So let's go ahead and pop over to challenges. And since this is a troublesome, it counts as 3. So, and this is 3 whole boxes. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 3 full boxes complete for traveling to Penny for Your Thoughts. And as we go through, there's going to be we're going to start doing some little vignettes as we travel along our legs for our travel. And the first one that we have is, we talked about how beige the ship is. And one of the only possessions that Roland still carries, and this was part of one of his truths, is he carries a potted bamboo plant. And I think it's only now, as he's coming down from that kind of stressful moment with that patrol boat, as he's continuing his journey on, and he's kind of taking a breather, and he's sitting there, he's looking around, and he's seeing outside. It's black and dark, just space. There's not a lot to see. Of course, Jupiter is always just right above, and you're in orbit around Jupiter. There's very little else to see. But when he looks around the cockpit of this place, and if we get rid of this and then come back over to our ship, one thing that we noticed is that it's a very bare ship. It's very cold. There's really nothing here. And I think it's really strikes home and true, because he looks over on maybe like the center console, and the only thing that's not beige in this place, minus the little flickering of lights on all the dials and the screens, which I imagine are probably still very like monochromatic, is this one potted green bamboo plant. And one of the things that I wanted to do right off the bat is this really hits Roland. I was going to have him hit Roland. I was going to have this hit Roland anyway, but especially with the thing that we just ran through, it hits him even harder that this ship, he's going to be spending so much time in it. And this has to be a ship that he can have a place where he can calm down, and he can kind of ease back into kind of a chill space, a quiet space. And he's going to make a vow right now. And his vow is, I swear on iron. See how I want to word this. I swear on iron that I will make this ship more, I'll say more green than beige. I swear on iron I'll make the ship more green than beige. Yeah, that sounds good. And we're going to say this is troublesome. So we're going to have to take some actions to do this. And I think kind of the starting point that he starts working on is we're seeing him in this vignette as he's, again, in this kind of montage sequence as we're going from one place to the next. As he's sitting there, he's calming himself down. He sees the plant. He starts looking around. He sees everything that's beige. And he kind of starts in this, not fully like angry, but definitely frustrated state. He starts tearing things out that are like obviously beige. So you can see in the background there's like some of these panels and doors and like seat cushions, and he just starts removing them and finding out like, hey, can I take this thing off? Can I cover it in something else? And he starts trying to make the things that are beige in this place go away, but I think it just makes him even more frustrated because there's just like this beige underneath the beige. Something that's more beige underneath that. And this is what we're saying as we're jumping into the next section. So let's find out what our first real leg is as we've marked our travel expedition progress so far. So let's go ahead and come back over to, let's close this one down, and let's find out the leg that we run into. So let's come to oracles, and we are still in space. So we have our terminus. Sorry that we're going to switch. No, we're not in a starship. This is going to be a space encounter. And we're in the outlines, and let's go ahead and clear these out. Roll up our sighting. So this was a planet, and I think we said our planet was a starship. So we run into a starship here. So let's find out. But it's not an immediate, oh no, it's a horrible thing that's gonna be trying to kill us. So let's go ahead and go to starship, and then let's clear this out. And is there? Oh, that's a first look one as well. That's not bad. Now let's go ahead and switch this over to the Outlands. And let's roll up our name. We got the Beowulf. It's a Salvager Hive fleet. Interesting. Looks like it's containing transports and escorts. That's not bad. We're not going to worry about initial contact because we haven't talked to him yet. But it's immobile. Oh, okay. So this is like some kind of a Salvager Hive fleet that's parked here and it's not able to move for some reason. Okay. Now in game terms, we could just leave, but Roland's not about that life. Roland he tries to help by nature. And so I think we're going to try to reach out and try to make contact with whatever's raising his beacon as the lead fleet ship. And so maybe there's a like one of the ships in particular. Let's find out what we run into. And actually, before we do that, let's go and pop back over to the sector. So let's say we started coming over this way, and then here is where we ran into a this fleet. So let's go ahead and grab us a ship, and this is going to be called Beowulf. So we're going to say this is the Beowulf fleet. Awesome. Cool. So now we have the Beowulf Salvager fleet. We'll rename this so it looks a little bit nicer when it pops up on here. I'm not too worried about it right now. Okay, so they're immobile, and I think we're gonna stop and chat for a little bit. Not to mention these folks may know, they may have some information about where the a penny for your thoughts cargo ship is. So they may have some information. So we're going to go and hail the lead ship and find out what's going on. So as we get closer and we start contacting somebody, let's get us a character. And the name is going to be Alex. And let's see, what do they think? Oh, they're suspicious. That totally makes sense. Cool. Let's start with that. So we go ahead and hail Alex. And immediately, I think Alex is suspicious. And as we come in, our sensors are probably pinging, suggesting that they have, target locks, nothing active, but they're running, passive radar sensors on us just to make sure. And I think the first thing is they ask us if we're part of the faction that we just ran into, that other patrol boat that was running around. Maybe they're the ones who, this is what we're thinking. I wouldn't be surprised if they're the ones who immobilized this fleet or had some kind of a run-in with them. And I think we're gonna have to convince Alex, like, hey, we're not with them. I'm just a passing. I probably even make sure I don't like actively flash him, but I'll make sure that I adjust on camera, right in front of him that he can see that I have my my Ironsworn necklace on, so that he could say, hey, look, I'm a Salvager too. I'm an Ironsworn Salvager. No joke. And we're gonna try to convince Alex, let him know, hey, we're just sailing through. We're actually looking for a missing ship, and we saw that you have some troubles. I could have been on my merry way, but I decided to stop in and see if there's anything I can help with. So we're gonna try to do a connection move, I think it's called, and we're gonna try to convince Alex here to let us dock. We're gonna try to dock with him actually. So we're gonna be asking or we're gonna be making a compel move. So when you try to persuade someone or make them an offer, envision your approach. So that's what we're doing. We're trying to we're trying to convince him to let us board, or at least dock, with his ship in the fleet, to be able to have a face-to-face conversation, and suggest that we may be able to help him with whatever problem that he and his fleet is running into. And so we're doing this by charming, pacifying, or encouraging, and we're going to roll plus heart to be able to see what happens. Cool. And then do we have any... I know we have diplomat, but I don't think... No, it's only when we're swearing an iron vow, so that's not going to apply at all. Okay. We're not gathering information right now. We're going to do that afterwards. So let's go ahead and roll plus heart. And we get no pluses. And let's see how we do. Okay, we got a weak hit. And if we take a look at compel on a weak hit, it's as a strong hit. They'll do what I want, or they'll agree to my conditions, and we take plus momentum. But their agreement comes with a demand or complication. Envision their counteroffer. I think they're definitely in need of help. They're willing to let us stock, but I think they need a show of faith. And maybe one of the problems that they're running into just straight off the bat is they've taken some damage. Maybe we get close enough we can see that, on first inspection, there's been some damage. So maybe it wasn't that patrol boat, but maybe they're harassed by, some kind of a patrol fleet or something of the same faction, and their ship has taken some damage. And as we get closer, and it looks like Alex is going to be convinced and let us come aboard. You can see him. We can see that he's still kind of turning over in his mind, and we're doing some kind of passive scans and looking at his ship. And we notice that even his ship's exterior hull is damaged. And before he can even say anything, we say, "Hey, we can already tell that your ship is damaged. I have my repair things. Why don't you let me go out? I can do an EVA. It looks like your airlock is already having problems. You don't want to have to call another ship. I'll just fix it for you. And I think Alex says, okay, you know what? Sure. Let's see what this guy's made of. So we're going to go ahead and do, repair, but it's not going to be for ours. So let's go ahead and pop over to, it's a recover move, and it's called repair. So when you make repairs to your vehicle, module, mechanical companions, or other devices, so we're going to use this for another ship, we're going to roll our wits. And if we're repairing supplies from somebody else, we roll supplies. So we're not doing that. We're going to try to do this ourselves. So, we're taking our EVA suit, we're throwing it on. It's all in, the same little room that we have for our main, for our main bridge area of our ship. It's kind of stashed underneath one of the beige seats. So we pop this thing out. We get all suited up. We have our tools. We make sure we throw our toolkit that we have on the outside, bring a couple extra things, and then we go ahead and pop out the hatch. And we're going to see if we can do some basic field repairs. We're not trying to fix the whole thing. We're just trying to adjust some of the the airlock problems they have. We're just trying to get on Alex's good side here. So let's go ahead and give it a go. So we're going to be rolling. What do we got here? Our wits, making our own repairs. And I don't think we get any pluses. Nope. No, of course we don't. So let's go ahead and just see how we do. It's a miss with a match. So that's worst thing possible. So on a repair with a miss, the repairs are not made and the situation worsens and I have to pay the price. And when it's a match, it's super bad. It's like the worst thing that can happen. So I think what's going on is that we're outside and I don't think the complication is with Alex. I think the complication is with the problem returning. So I imagine, we're floating out in the dark. We're getting close to the ship. Maybe we're even starting repairs. We got our crowbar out. We're pulling back a panel. We're getting ready to go. And it looks like this is something that's going to be potentially manageable. It'll take a little bit of time, but it might be manageable. And then I hear the speaker come on inside my suit. And it's Alex, and he's talking in a very hurried way, letting us know that they have to get out of here immediately because they just returned. The Raider fleet, the faction Raider fleet, just returned in again. And I kind of look over to the side, and probably the 6-7 ships that are highlighted by that are backlit by Jupiter. We can see them off in the distance, and they're closing in fast. I figure 10 minutes until they get here. And I think we have a little bit of a tough spot because we can leave, but they can't. And we don't know if they're looking to destroy him. We don't know, and that's not really our gig. And this isn't our fight. But I don't think that Roland would just bounce. He's not looking to fight either, but he's definitely not looking to just get out of here. So we have a little bit of a challenge on our hands, and we have to pay the price. And I think our price is we're gonna take some stress. So we're gonna take a stress hit on this one. And I am gonna try to endure the stress. So first, I'm gonna take a stress hit. So our spirit is going down to a 3. And we are going to try to hearten ourselves to see if we can really steel ourselves against this. And we can do this by either rolling spirit or heart, whichever is higher. Either one is fine. We're going to roll our heart just because I feel like it. But functionally, it makes no difference. And we're going to try to steel ourselves to be able to not have to take this spirit hit because I don't want to get too low. It's a weak hit. So I may lose momentum in exchange for +1 spirit, which I'm going to do. And so... So yeah, we're going to go ahead and take our momentum down to 1. Our spirit goes back up to 4. And we're envisioning this as, we're kind of taking a pause. There's that 5-breath pause as we're thinking about what's going on. Alex, there's a little bit of silence in the background, but we're steeling ourselves, and we hear that sound come back in again. And Alex says, hey, Roland, did you copy? You should probably go. And I don't think we can. I think Roland is going to try to make a... I think we're going to try to talk to this fleet and see if we can't convince them that they need to not do this. They need to stand down. They need to go. And it would take Roland a little bit to get back in, to strip down, to talk. And I think Roland asks Alex, just, I know this is a long shot, but patch me through. Just patch me through to the lead rating ship that's coming in. And Alex doesn't really have a lot of options, and I think he's gonna. Well, let's see. I don't want to make the call, so let's ask Oracle. Do we think it's I think it's likely that Alex is going to try to patch us through because he's run out of options. But he might just say, you know what, this isn't your fight. Get out of here. I don't want to involve you. So we're going to ask the Oracle, and if it's a 26 on a D100 or better, then he's going to patch me. He's going to patch us through. Whoo, on the button. Yeah, so maybe there's another one of those 5 beats that comes across the line as we kind of wait quietly, silently. Roland sitting in the blackness, not even working on the ship anymore, just holding on to that one crowbar that's stuck into the door. And after a few more hot beats, Alex comes back in again. He says, "Okay, I'm patching you through now." And then we hear the pop click that comes across. And Roland knows that he only has one chance to get these guys down, and so he's gonna throw out the biggest name that he knows. This could get him in trouble later on, but he's gonna try to do it anyway. And Roland says to the general broadcast on that lead ship, he says, "This is Roland Bishop. I'm an Ironsworn Salvager, backed and supported by May Farron, legendary Iron Salvager. You've heard of her. You know what she can do. You know what she's gonna do to you if you press this attack. You better back down now. Otherwise, this will not end here." Let's see how that goes. I feel like that it's definitely compel, but I don't think we're encouraging. I think we're threatening or inciting them. So we're going to compel using threaten and incite, and that's rolling iron. So let's go ahead, and we're dropping May's name. So this could get us in trouble. We're going to do it anyway. So let's go ahead and roll iron. Let's see what we do. And let's make sure we write that down. That feels like that thing I just did. It could come back to bite us later, whether this goes well or not. So let's go ahead, come over here and say, we have threatened the faction raiding fleet. Faction raiding fleet with May's name and backing, which she may not be cool with. She's probably not gonna be cool with that, but we're doing it anyway. Okay, let's find out what happens here. Very exciting. Everything's going horribly wrong right off the bat. This is Starforged for you. Okay, let's go ahead and do our compel with threatening and inciting. Iron, go. To strong. Well, at least it's going well on the times where we really need it to land. So that's look at that, a 5 and a +2. That's real good. Okay, cool. Wow, that was solid. I don't even think we get a response. Or maybe all we get is kind of, that same pause. And then maybe, you can almost hear, the shot, the camera kind of kicks over and you can see the ships coming in, and then it kicks back over and it's on Roland's face with the Jovian sunrise behind us, and it gets quiet and you can almost hear the questioning. Alex is still patching the line, so you can hear it and you can almost feel that tension. And then after a few more beats, all you hear is hard copy, and the ships, you hear that click again because the mic is clicked off, and the ships start peeling off, and they just start going, and all of them just kind of blink out as their drives go. So we managed to get them to back down, but I think that's going to come with a serious price later on. So we've threatened the faction raiding fleet with May's name and backing. They've believed the threat. And may return in kind later. Eesh. Okay. Well, we'll definitely tell May about. I mean, maybe we'll probably tell May when we get back, because that seems like a pretty. Yeah, she's going to hear about it one way or another. Oof. Okay. Well, off to an interesting start. But I think with that, Alex, we've made a new buddy. Or at least we've definitely gained the trust of Alex and kind of the general fleet as a whole, because that would have as the camera of our show is kind of passing along, as we see those the raiding ships leave, you can see, and maybe this was because it was hidden by some of the other larger ships, but you can see like some of the broken or smoking hulls of some of the smaller ships in the scavenger fleet that are here. They clearly have taken a lot of damage, and if this fleet had come back in again, it's very likely that they would have been knocked around. A lot of people may have died. So we're the unlikely hero of the day. Didn't mean to be, but and maybe Roland is thinking that I just do this for my own sake, or was I just thinking about Alex, or was I just trying to get myself out here, or am I trying to play who knows? But it worked out. Today it worked out. And so over the course of the next half hour or so, Alex just walks us through how to fix the rest of the ship, and we managed to dock with the airlock with this other ship. And let's find out. Second, take a look at my list of ship names here. We're gonna call Alex's ship. Okay, so Alex's ship is gonna be called Every Cloud Has a Silver Lining. So Alex, and what was Alex's last name? Let's find out. I'm curious. It was Alex Okira. Perfect. Close the oracles. Alex Okira. And he is the captain of Every Cloud Has a Silver Lining. Okay. As we dock with the ship and I'm coming inside, I think Alex is right there. We walk in through the airlock. We're still wearing our EVA suit. Didn't bother to take it off. We still have our tool belt on. And we can see inside just kind of a haze because this ship has been beat up as well. And we go for that handshake, and we're gonna make another move right now because I like Alex, and we're here to make connections, and we're here to make some friends out in the bleakness of space. We are going to make a connection. We're making the move, make a connection, and we're doing this when we want to. I want to call this one out because I think it's a really cool move that they've included here in Starforged. When you search out a new relationship or give focus to an existing relationship, roll plus heart. So this is a move that's specifically made to create a character that we want to be in our story. So by making this move, Alex, we've decided, is going to be, an important side character that we will probably run into again, or have some kind of an engagement with. I don't know what that is, but this felt cool, so I want that to be a thing. So we're going to make a connection. So we're going to roll plus heart, and we're going to see what happens. So let's go heart. Give it a roll. Strong hit with a match. Oh, man. So I'm glad we're hitting the important ones. This is great. So when it's strong, you create a connection. We're going to give him a roll and a rank. And when our connection aids us on a move closely associated with a roll, we get to add +1 to that move and get +1 momentum on a hit. And because it's a strong hit with a match, I feel like there's some kind of like an opportunity or connection here. I could make a tie to. I feel like he wants to help us in some way, some meaningful way, and I don't know what that is yet. So let's do this. Let's come back to our challenges, because this is where I'm marking down our progress for connections, and we're gonna add a new connection, and this connection is Alex Okira. And let's find out what his role is. We know he's the captain of the ship, but we don't know what his purpose is. We know this is the Salvager fleet, but maybe he's not really a Salvager. Maybe he's a medic. Maybe he's an engineer. Maybe who knows what it is. Let's find out. So let's go ahead and pop over to oracles, and I also want to do a couple first looks on this one. He's swaggering, and he's wounded. Of course, he's fucking swaggering. So good. Of course he's swaggering. Okay, so his role, and this is what's going to come into his connection, is he's a fugitive. Wow. Okay, well that's why the faction is chasing him down. So he's a salvager. He's illegal salvage. So we haven't talked about this yet, but there's salvage rules in this in our world, which we'll get to once we start taking on salvage. But Alex and potentially his group doesn't go with that, and so he's being hunted. So he's a fugitive. Oh, that's so cool. Okay, so we'll be able to talk to Alex about things that are under under the radar, things that are not exactly on the up and up. That's super cool. Yeah, and so as we come in, we're gonna say that this is gonna be a dangerous level. It doesn't mean like this is a dangerous person, but the higher up of a rank that you go, that means the harder it's going to be able to make like a real connection with this person. And I think the strong hit is going to be that when we clasp our hands in that first meet, and he's got this head wound that's bleeding and it's mostly dried by now, but he's got it wrapped pretty good. And we get this handshake, and it's in that look that we realize that we've made a real connection, and he and his people would have been hurt far more had I not stuck my neck out for them and helped them out. And so we're going to set this as dangerous, and we're going to say that that we get our full progress as though we had done something for them important because of that strong hit. And so we're going to say we get 2 boxes with him just straight out of the bat, which is what you would get when you progress something at this level for dangerous. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I shake his hand, and he tells us, I and my people, we all owe you our thanks. And had you not, he starts kind of talking about what this means to him, and I stop him and I say, hey, you would have done the same. I make that statement whether it's true or not, and I appreciate it. Says I'm actually just passing through. I'm looking for a ship. But that can wait. I want to see what I can do to help you and your crew, even if it takes a little bit of time. And so I think we're gonna take some time here, and we're gonna connect with his people. We're gonna talk about things, and I'm gonna not help him go all the way back on his feet, but I definitely want to kind of settle things out for him here, see what I can do to help, and give him my time. And I think there is a progress for connections. It's called Develop Your Relationship. We're making a run of a lot of these different moves. Plus, kind of learning the system. It's the first time really playing Starforged. Played Ironsworn a lot. And so this one is called Developing Your Relationship. And you can advance your connection depending on things you do for them. And normally it's like when you make a bond with, or when you make an iron vow with them, or if you complete an iron vow or go through a hardship, something like that, you get to advance that. And I think we're sharing. There's one here on it's sharing a profound moment, standing with them against hardship. I think both those things apply because we're going to stay here. We're also going to make a Sojurn roll in just a minute because we're staying with this community, because this is a community of ships and people. And so we're gonna, we do our montage of repairing and help them out. We're not gonna make a roll for this because it's not under pressure or anything. And so we help them out. We are gonna advance our connection, so that goes up 2 more. There we go. And as we're helping, we continue this montage scene of we're talking to people, we're helping. There's a couple of people. We're all just sharing a beer and we're drinking, and then we're getting back to work and we're all welding, and then somebody's outside, somebody's telling a joke, we're laughing, and so we're gonna make a Sojurn roll because we're connecting with this community, and we're making some connections. That's what we're trying to do. We don't want this to be a bleak space. So let's go ahead and go over to. Let's take a look. This is going to be a recover roll. Sojurn. When you spend time recovering within a community, roll plus heart. Now we're all kind of recovering together. We've been through this kind of weird thing that we just dealt with. So let's go ahead and come back over to us, and we roll plus heart. So let's go ahead and give it a go. And we get a weak hit. So with this one, it's as above with strong, which means a safe refuge. You and your allies may each choose 2 recover moves. And instead of rolling, I can assume an automatic strong hit for each on the moves that I choose. And it's the weak is the same as a strong. However, the time is short or resources are strained. Resources are definitely strained. We're more focused on repairing things. And so I only get to do one thing. And the thing that I'm going to choose is going to be to... I think I'm going to hearten. I could resupply, and I could take things on as cargo, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to take things away from these people. They need it more than I do. But I would like to hearten. And so with heartening, I do it as though it's a strong hit, and I take +2 spirit. And if I make this move as I sojourn, which I am, I get +1 more, but it doesn't actually mean anything. I'm just kind of recovering my spirit I'm making sure like, yeah, this was right. This was the right thing to do. And because I'm meeting these people and I'm seeing these are just people that are out here. They could have all been dead or broken or left with very little left, which would have, now thinking about it, just an absolute mess. And I think actually as I'm doing this, I'm telling one of the people the story of, we see this in one of the montage sequences as we're doing the Sojurn and talking to people. I mentioned, this plant, and maybe we even, I'm talking about this plant that I have and all the beige, and they're like, what are you talking about? And then, the camera cuts, hard cut, and it's at the inside, and I'm like pointing, and I'm showing the inside of my ship and how like gross it is, and just like, look, it's all just beige. And they all start laughing, and then they all come out, and as I'm leaving, as we're leaving to go, before I talk to Alex one last time, I'm trying to get some information on where the Penny for Your Thoughts is. But as I'm leaving, maybe some folks are coming out with a parting gift, and it's a couple of plants, like a couple hanging plants that I can, some vine hanging plants that I can put in my ship, which I'm like, oh, that's so great, I love it, this is the perfect gift. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back over to my challenges, and I think that marks some progress on here. So we're going to, and since it's Troublesome, I get 3 full boxes. There we go. Because now we're coming along. See, we're just a little bit at a time. It's looking great. Yeah, this is really good. And I also think, by the way, I swear in iron to make a name for myself as the greatest salvager the system has ever seen. This is epic. So whenever I do something that I think is worthy to drive that name forward, and I'm gonna consider this being something that, like, you got to do something big, and it has to be something memorable, and it has to be something where, like this, you stuck your neck out and you could have been killed right alongside all these people, but you decided against it. You decided to be stupid in the right way. And I think this was something that moves it forward. There's a move in here. Effectively, what we're doing is a move, and it's an advanced move on. If I'm coming back over to our quest, it's called Reach a Milestone. And it says, when you make headway in your quest, we're doing the same thing for I Swear in Iron to make this starship more green than beige. And what it is when you make headway in your quest by doing any of the following, and there's a bunch of things: when you overcome an critical obstacle, when you gain some meaningful insight, when you earn vital support, etc., then you may mark progress per the rank of the vow. And that's what we're doing here. So since this one is Troublesome, we mark 3 full boxes, which is nice. But since this one is epic, I only get to mark 1 on here. But I think at 100%, these are people that will remember Roland Bishop. They'll remember. And they'll probably tell somebody else, hey, there's this crazy dude. And yeah, so I think that absolutely marks it. Yeah, we're going to keep that. Super cool. And now I have some hanging plants inside, which is so cool, by the way, that I'm actually going to write it down in our starship. So we're going to come over here and we're going to say, check this out. I love this. Plants 4. Love it. Okay, cool. Okay, so let's go ahead and get rid of this one. We can close out this. And so we have our swaggering Alex. We should probably write down. I'll put something in for Alex afterwards in the people section. So in journal, when I mark this, I'll make sure that we translate Alex Okira from here down to our people section too. Awesome. Okie dokes. And I think as everybody's shaking hands and clasping us on the back and saying, hey, it was so great to meet you. We share contact information, where they're going to be going, where I'm going to be going, where I'm based out of. They laugh and they tell us they tell me to thank May for the weight of her name in getting these raiders out of here. But Alex asks if there's anything else that I can do or that he can do for me, and I'm gonna try to gather some information. I'm gonna see if he has any information, can tell me anything, lead me in the right direction for finding a penny for your thoughts. And so let's go ahead and come on in here. And so we're going to go together, and I'm doing a gather information roll. And because I'm leveraging my newfound connection, I get a +1 to it, which is nice. And so what we're going to do is we're going to gather information, which is going to be a +wits roll. So let's go ahead and come over here. And then I'm going to do a +wits roll. And I'm going to add +1 because of my contact. So Alex is helping me out, seeing what information he knows and can find out. And let's go ahead and give it a roll. It's a weak hit. That's better than nothing. So let's take a look to see what Secure and Advantage does. Gather information. On a weak hit, the information provides new insight, but also complicates your quest. Envision what you discover, then take +1 momentum. So first, there's a lot of things to unpack there. Let's take our momentum, because we need that. We're going to need a lot more of it by the time this is all done. And we get new insight. So I think this progresses our quest. So we're going to come back over to challenges. And then we swore on iron to discover the fate of the mission cargo ship. So we've now learned a lead. And we're going to mark these. Since it's troublesome, we get 3 full boxes. And I think our natural progression on this thing is that the scuttlebutt that they've heard is that there was a cargo ship. They didn't hear the name, but based on the path that it was taking to get here, Alex believes that it was the ship that they heard about was also attacked by these raider ships. You know, probably wrong place, wrong time. It's been known to happen. It almost happened to us just a little while ago when we first came through. They can itchy trigger fingers, some of these factions, and that's the word. So there's a high likelihood that when we finally run down this ship, that we're going to have to deal with this faction again. They may still be around. They may have boarded the ship. We don't know. But at least we have a harder lead on it than we did before. So that's going to be something that we're going to be able to get to in our next session. So that takes us to the end of our first session. Thanks everybody for joining on this one. Some interesting things happened. Made a new friend, made a new batch of friends, starting to make our name for ourselves. Our new contact, Alex Kira. And we now have a firm lead on A Penny for Your Thoughts. And so in Chapter 2, we're going to be tracking that down, finding that ship, getting back to May, hoping she doesn't kill us. So until then, stay tuned.